Welcome to the Voice of the Coast. I am your host, Danica Long. With me, we have Trinisha Hayes, who is the Vice President of Education and Vice President of Public Relations with St. Mary Parish Toastmasters. Say that 3 times. You wear some hats for this organization.
Yes, I do. I am currently the Vice President of Education and the Vice President of Public Relations, which is why I'm here.
Yeah, and that keeps you pretty busy.
It does.
Yes. Well, of course, we're happy to have you here. Thank you. And of course, I am the president, so I have to make that known. I'm the president of that chapter of St. Mary Parish Toastmasters. One of the things I really want to get to right away, and I can tell you I'm so proud of you, but you know, it's always good to have it from the horse's mouth.
Yes.
You participated in the International Speech Contest, and I was there, and again, I'm kind of crossing some lines here.
A little biased.
But you did a great job. I mean, it was an A1 speech. How do you feel about your performance, your presentation?
I felt like it was really good. I gave it 110%. And to be honest, I think it was one of my best speech deliveries I've ever given.
Yes. And for those who are wondering, can you kind of give us a very short summary or synopsis of what it's about?
So my speech was titled The Metaphoric Transformation of a Butterfly. And what I did was I compared how us as humans can relate to a butterfly with specifically our growth process. And I originally wrote the speech 5 years ago. It was about growth and transformation and me coming into myself with self-discovery and healing, of course. So it was a really profound speech and very inspiring.
Yes, it was. I can tell you that just as someone who's in the audience and listening. And I know you got a lot of compliments from that speech that day, and as well as from our very own Toastmasters, because you've presented at one of our meetings. So again, we appreciate that. Now we do have an open house coming up, so that's actually why you're here. If you could tell us a little bit more about the open house.
Yes, we are hosting our spring open house. We host one every year, twice a year. And what we are doing is hoping to grow our club and find potential members who could actually benefit from Toastmasters. It is going to be on May 11th at 5:30 at the Hampton Inn in Morgan City. We're going to be meeting in their boardroom, and you guys can please come out and check it out. If you have questions about Toastmasters and been hearing about it, but you're curious about it, just come check us out. You can also watch it on Zoom if you can't get out of the house, because we understand lives are busy, so just check us out.
That's right. Now, of course, folks if you stayed this long, you're probably like, what is Toastmasters? So let's kind of go from there. Tell us what Toastmasters is.
Toastmasters is a public speaking organization, and a lot of people hear public speaking and they're like, oh, nope, that's not for me, but it's beyond that. Toastmasters is about communication in general. If you are looking to be able to present better in your meetings at work, it's for you. If you're a stay-at-home mom, we like to say that all the time, it is for you. But it's leadership. To be a better leader, you have to communicate. So it's pretty much communication and brushing up on those skills and making you a better communicator.
Speaking of what you mentioned, mom, and you said it helped you become a better mom.
Yes.
I love that. I think that's great. So again, for those people who are at home who are stay-at-home moms, that's a job. So how did it make you become a better mom or help you?
I have a teenager, and she's a girl, so that says enough in itself.
Yeah.
But it helped me with my active listening skills. I listen better because of Toastmasters, and it taught me to think before I speak and not react before I actually hear her out. So
yeah, I mean, Toastmasters has done a lot of profound work on all of us. I think we all are more mindful of how we speak, how we listen, even emotional intelligence. I mean, there's even an assignment within the pathways, which is also a part of that. It's your journey, it's your curriculum that you follow when you're in Toastmasters. And you can learn all that when you come to open house on May 11th at Hampton Inn Suites in Morgan City, 5:30. And typically, meetings are only about an hour, but for open house, it may run a little over, about an hour and a half, but it'll be stimulating from start to finish.
Yes, and the social starts at 5:15, so if you want to get there a little bit early to case us out and see if it's for you, you'll immediately feel welcomed.
Yeah, I agree. You've been in Toastmasters for now about 4 years,
Correct.
I think. What's your experience been like from start to where you are now? Because again, you were just in an international speech contest.
Yes. Initially, when I came to Toastmasters, it was because I flubbed on a speech in front of an audience that I can actually deliver to typically. However, there were parents in a room, so it was a little bit awkward for me. And I came across Toastmasters as coincidentally the next day, and I went to their open house, and for me it has been an enlightening experience of growth.
Yeah. Well, we'll talk a little bit more about your experience and where you have started to where you are now, but we're going to take a short break. Come on back right here on the Voice of the Coast with yours truly. Welcome back to the Voice of the Coast. My guest is Trinisha Hayes, who is the Vice President with St. Mary Parish Toastmasters. She holds two Vice President seats. Let's go back to your experience, because I know you said that you were doing a presentation. You did not complete it to your satisfaction, and then of course you sought us out. So what have you seen in yourself that you can say, I really have improved from where I was before?
Nervousness. A lot of people have a huge fear of public speaking. Of course, it is a natural reaction to get nervous before you present in front of someone, but I have improved tremendously on that. I can get in front of any audience. I'm on a TV show right now, so before I couldn't have done that. Yeah. I have improved on my crutch words, and if you guys do not know what that is, I've said quite a few since I've been sitting here, but it's words that you use to fill the gaps when you're trying to think of what to say, like, so, you know, but words like that.
Yes. It's something about Toastmasters, and it's not just us. This is an international organization. We are just actually kind of the babies.
Exactly.
St. Mary Parish Toastmasters, our chapter is now 6 years old. However, this organization has been around since the 30s, is it?
Correct, correct. And there's over 300,000 Toastmasters around the world.
Yes. So come be a part of this extravagant organization. It's huge. It's just that we're just a little tiny speck of it. Speaking of being a part of something, what would you say about the networking aspect of Toastmasters?
When it comes to the networking aspect, Toastmasters, especially St. Mary Parish, and I will say I'm a little biased, but we are a very diverse group of different backgrounds, different career choices. We are the most non-judgmental group I have ever been involved with.
Yeah, I think I would agree with that as well. And we mentioned stay-at-home moms, but for those who have careers, how is it beneficial for those individuals?
Again, it goes back to the pathways that can help you become a better presenter in your career. And when you complete these different levels within this path, you can actually get recommendations to help you with your career advancement.
Right. So you can submit this to your supervisors
Correct.
or HR personnel, and it goes into likely your jacket, and you'll be up for promotions. It can help with promotions.
Correct.
Definitely. And let's talk about the fact that there have been some new faces. I know I've been there for about 5 years. I'm there because it is steadily improving the way that I communicate, even myself. Like, I'm finding just new ways, better ways to communicate with individuals. But I also, I enjoy being there.
Correct.
But we've had some new faces that are starting to come. I think people are starting to realize, okay, let me see what this Toastmasters is all about, and they're staying.
Correct. We had quite a few members join this year. If I'm not mistaken, since July, we had 7 new members who have joined our club. It is what most clubs would be like a revolving door. The people who join Toastmasters, they stick around.
Yeah.
They see the benefits, and it's the camaraderie of being around like-minded individuals.
When you say they stick around, we just came back from district conference, and there are people who have been in Toastmasters for 20 years.
Yes.
They are lifers.
Yes.
And they come back because I think it's the camaraderie, I think it's the networking, I think it's the education, it's all of that, and it's a pretty inexpensive organization to be a part of.
Exactly. It is a very nominal fee. You pay twice a year, but it is very nominal. And that's coming from a single mom who's been in it 4 years.
Yeah, right. No, I get it. No, and look, with all the, just all the hikes and just food, just
Exactly,
the pay
yes.
increases and all that. So one more opportunity, the spring open house for Toastmasters. It is Thursday, May 11th, 5:30 at Hampton Inn and Suites in Morgan City. Of course, it is available on Zoom, and we ask that you go to our Facebook page, which is St. Mary Parish Toastmasters, and there you'll get all the Zoom information. It's too much to put out here, but go to that page, and we are asking that you are on screen for this because we just want to make sure that no one who's a troll is in attendance.
We've had that happen.
Yes, that's right. Well, thank you so very much
You're
for
welcome.
being here.
Thanks for inviting me back.
No problem. Of course, you're invited anytime to come back. So thank you. We'll see you guys. Stay right where you are. We have much more to come. Welcome back to the Voice of the Coast. I am your host, Danica. Along with me, we have Bryce Merrill. Mr. Bryce, we know you from a couple of things, but definitely know you as a former diver. You are with the Oilfield Divers Monument Board, this new monument that has been erected in Morgan City across from the auditorium in the vicinity of Chamber of Commerce, and it drew lots of people from all over the world. This has to be kind of a really monumentous occasion for not just you, but for this area.
Yeah, it turned out to be way more than we had envisioned when we got started with it. We were overwhelmed by the number of people that showed up, the support of the city, the Mayor Lee Dragna and Charlie Solar and the council members and the citizens and the companies that helped them with donations and things are just too numerous to mention, and it's just astounding when we started where it got to, and the size of the number of people that came was just floored us.
Yeah. Speaking of which, about how many people showed up? I hear it's
We
quite a lot.
we heard there was around 500 people came to the unveiling, and we had over 300 at the crawfish boil.
That's awesome. Now, why is this so important? Well, because commercial diving, pretty much, it was birthed here in Morgan City. Lots of divers got their start here at places like Oceaneering. Tell us about your start, how you got started in diving.
I started in 1965, scrapping brass and copper from old wrecks around Newfoundland and Eastern Canada. I worked for a small construction company for a number of years, and then went to work for Oceaneering offshore around the world in different construction and diving projects on the rigs, and did just over 20 years.
Yeah, and diving is, obviously it's important, but it's also a dangerous job.
It is a dangerous job. The camaraderie is built by your life being in the hands of other guys, and it's a unique field, because the diving is just like getting in your car and driving to work. It's a method to get you to the job. Once you get there, you have to know what to do. You have to be a rigger and a welder and a pipe fitter and a cutter and engineer, and be able to do all kinds of things when you're on the job, because the diving is just a means to get you there.
Yeah.
It's like an elevator.
Right, right. How long did it take you and the board from start to finish for this monument?
We started in November of last year, and we raised the money to be fully funded to put all the things that are going to be going in that are not in place yet. But for the monument, we have some money left over. We're going to start a scholarship fund that'll go to South Louisiana Community College, which are the old Youngs, and we'll be sponsoring some of the young divers that come in to go through the school there. We'll be setting that up.
Yeah, speaking of young divers, you said pretty much you had a lot of the older divers that showed up, and you want to be able to bring in some of the new, younger divers for the next reunion that you guys are planning, because 500, that's really nice to have that at an unveiling. Did you imagine you were going to have that many people?
No, we were worried if we were going to have anybody coming, but it's kind of just took on a life of its own, and it was time for this. A lot of the guys, we've just been blown away by the reception and the interest that the guys had, and being able to raise the money and the donations, and we had a lot of corporate donors, which we're very thankful for. and the biggest percentage of numbers were individual guys. So it was, you know, by divers for divers.
Right. And there's a small community of that. So, you know, when you have that, you kind of want to keep that alive. You want to be able to see some of your old friends. Like you said, you hadn't seen people in over, you know, 20, 30 years.
Yeah. 76, one guy came from Kentucky. I hadn't seen him since 1976. So
wow.
it's, you know, a lot of guys have changed so much. And I was talking to a guy called me today, thanked me for what was going on. And he said that he was going around introducing himself to people that, you know, he just didn't know who they were, just saying hi. And, oh, I remember I was in SAT with you, and we were on such and such a job together. And it was amazing to see the happy, smiling faces and everybody having a good time.
Awesome. I love that. Let's go and take a short break, but we'll be right back right here on the Voice of the Coast. Welcome back to the Voice of the Coast. And during the break, you kind of mentioned a name that I hadn't heard in quite some time, but Morgan Cityans are definitely familiar with this gentleman, at least, well, both of them, but the one I've actually met once before, and that's Mr. Johnny Johnson, who is responsible for oceaneering. But he and the other gentleman, I can't remember his
Mike
name.
Hughes.
Mike Hughes. They came down and
Yeah,
participated.
they came. It was
awesome.
amazing to see them together again. And they were the two guys that started Worldwide Divers back in the early 60s, which grew up to become Oceaneering, one of the largest diving companies in the world here in Morgan City, got the start. And it was interesting to see Johnny is a little unsteady on his feet, and they're helping him get up and stand by the monument. And Mike was behind him, and he said, "I've got your back." And Johnny said, "Yeah, you always have."
I love that. Oh, that's so sweet. That's awesome. There's actually a Facebook page where folks can go to look at a lot of the photos and what happened at that event. And what's the name of the Facebook?
It's Oilfield Divers Monument on Facebook. And we had a guy flying a drone. Took a lot of drone pictures for us. Yeah. And we had a photographer there. So once all that stuff comes over, we'll be posting that on the Facebook and on our webpage.
Give us that website, because if anyone would like to donate, if you'd like to support, or even just check out what's coming up, I know on Facebook it's Oilfield Divers Monument, but what is the website?
Webpage is oilfielddiversmonument.org.
Awesome. Who was responsible for erecting this monument? I mean, how did this all come about?
I got a call in November of last year from Rusty Wright, a diver who worked down here in the 70s. And he lives up in Kansas, and he called me out of the blue one day, and I said he had an idea, and here we are today. But we formed a board with Rusty as our leader, project manager, Jack Vilas, who works for Minco Marine, used to have Vilas and Associates here in town, and Micah and Virgil Allen, the owners of the Mr. Charlie Rigg Museum that helped us get started to be able to work through their nonprofit group, and myself, Bryce, and the lady behind the scene who runs it all, Debbie Stevenson.
That's awesome. And with just those handful of people, you guys had this major event that took place here in Morgan City, and you hope to do it again. And you're not going to call it a reunion because you want to get some of the younger divers involved, right? It'll just be kind of an annual event. What are you looking forward to maybe next year, last week in April, correct?
Last week of April, yeah. And we're trying to get the young guys to come out, and which we missed them this year. We're hoping there was more of them. So we're looking at maybe dropping the reunion part because they might think it's just a bunch of old guys around. So we're going to see if we can get them to come. We're going to have the same thing at Crawfish Boil, probably a reception at the Clariton at the lounge there, Legacy Lounge.
Okay. There's more to come. I mean, right now there's a monument there, but I think you guys want to, include some seating, some lighting, maybe even some additional pieces. What's to come?
Yeah. So we're going to put the benches in, just two small benches. The base of the concrete base that Bob is standing on is actually a Mark V diving helmet, an old style diving helmet. So when you look at it, that's what it looks like. So the two of the ports on the side on the hat will have the base, the benches, and then there'll be lighting on the Bob at night, and there'll be lighting on the wall that will be in place. There'll be a granite wall in the back of it also.
What's going to be on the wall?
It's going to have just a little bit of the story of how diving came about and grew up to be an industry here in Morgan City. And it's going to have an old style helmet and the newer style helmet engraved in it. And you'll be able to go to QC code, and it'll take you to our webpage, which has more information about the industry there.
Gotcha. Why Bob? Why that name Bob? Where did that come from?
Well, according to Rusty, he said whenever he went to takeout places and they said your name, he would say Rusty, and they would always get it wrong. Okay. So one day he just said Bob when they asked him what his name was. Okay, awesome. And he just chose that when we were talking about if we were going to give it a name, and just Bob sort of came up and stuck.
So if you want to take a look and find out where Bob is, he's actually on Myrtle Street, right across from the St. Mary Chamber of Commerce, also on the same, right next to the War Monument that's there. So thank you very much for joining us, and hopefully you guys will get an opportunity to check it out again on Myrtle Street in Morgan City. Thank you very much. Take care.